Welcome back to some more racing action in F1 Total. We are back into Season 12, Division 1, and this is round number 9. The last race before the Christmas break, before we'll come back into the new year, and we'll go out on a classic one. So welcome to Silverstone, to the British Grand Prix, a classic track, the first ever track to ever host the first Formula 1 race back in 1950. One of the most historical tracks and also one of my favorites. I personally love driving on this track, and I'm sure a lot of other drivers do as well. Now sadly, as you can see, the attendance is not looking great again. We are back with only 10 drivers for tonight, which is not exactly what we like to see. But anyway, with this being round number 9, we are officially into the last third of the season. But the championship situation is exactly the same. Kartracer and Felix are still battling for the championship. Kartracer with 147 points and Felix with 134. I'll lower the audio a little bit and then we can go back to qualifying. There we go. So that's for the Drivers' Championship, and for the Constructors, still Aston Martin and Mercedes fighting for the title with a very big gap from Alpine, Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren, all of these fighting for P3. But yeah, it's always Kartracer versus Felix and Mercedes versus Aston Martin. Now with this being Silverstone, even if we are only 10 drivers today, I can still say we're gonna see some nice racing. Silverstone always produced very good racing, exciting to watch. And Mihai reserving for McLaren will be the first one to complete the lap today. Now into the first corner, Abbey flat out, same goes for turn number 2, and then into the first braking zone, which is turn 3, I don't remember the name, it's Village actually. Barely within track limits, missing quite some cars, and I think he abandoned the lap. So we'll go on board with what it is. It's Williams, the Williams of Kurbold, starting the lap right now. Now into Abbey, flat out, right and left, very fast set of corners, which could produce chaos in the race. But I mean, if you just lift a little bit and watch out for sector 1, it's gonna be 27.5, and now into Brooklands and into Luffield. Now approaching the infamous corner. It's not this one, but the right-hander that's coming in a few seconds. The famous Cops being flat out in this season's cars, and that's been host of many overtakes and also many crashes. And now into Maggots and Beckett's, flat out for the first 2 corners and then braking and very careful with the throttle now in Chapel and closing sector 2. It's a 1 minute and 02 for now. Now we'll see Kurbold approaching Stowe, one of the last corners, and now into Val. Not taking the sausage curb, a little bit sliding, and now into Club, last corner, and the time is 1:26.3, the first lap of this qualifying session. Technically the first one was Mihai, but I mean 1:52 seconds, it's I don't think you see those times ever in Formula 1, like not even the longest track in terms of lap time is into the 50s. Anyway, Paco sets the fastest lap for now, 24.9, and Felix in P2 we are 25.3. Now we are waiting on Conflex. Now Conflex has invalidated, so the hot lap situations is a little bit he has stopped for now. Kevin is on an out lap, but he's still very far from the finish line, so we just stay on board with Conflex. I assume it's gonna be starting now. Although he has very low battery, so it's definitely not going to be enough to complete the lap. And he's also on low fuel, so I'm not sure if he's gonna complete it. But anyway, now after turn 5 with the first DRS on the Wellington straight, finishing sector 1 we are 27.4, it is purple for now. Now approaching Brooklands and into Luffield. And now the Red Bull approaching once again the infamous Cops corner, being approached by the same car that had a terrific crash in 2021, which was the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. After the very questionable incident, Cornflakes has invalidated again. After the very questionable incident between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. But other than that, we've seen in the past some moves being done both on the inside and outside in that corner. And it's very exciting. You feel a lot of adrenaline doing a move in there. Anyway, Kevin is starting the lap right now into the set of slow corners. Throttle all the way with traction control doing his job. And Kevin will finish the first sector with a 27.6. It says purple on the map, but yeah, we know how the game works. We don't we don't have to remind it every time. In the meanwhile, I set a normal lap with a 27.4, but still very far from the pace. He's gonna have to improve. Now Kevin just completed Cups and he's into Maggots and Beckett's right now. Not going exactly on the outside, and the Aston Martin of Kart Racer, there was a little bit, no, it wasn't Kart Racer, it was Jeremy. Jeremy being somewhat on the line. I mean, it was on the exit of the corner, but it wasn't a straight. I mean, Kevin avoided it, but the Aston Martin was going very slow on the exit of Chapel. Kevin sets his first time of the session with 26.5, and there are 10 minutes left into the session. Jeremy in the Aston Martin has started the lap right now. Jeremy and PC Willie are pushing, and then we have Cornflakes, Kart Racer and Nemesis still on their out laps and still with no time. Jeremy being the teammate of one of the championship contenders, Kart Racer's teammate, and also part of the team that's fighting for the championship for the constructors titles. He is expected to put in a solid result in today. I mean, even if you crash on the first lap or something, we are just 10 drivers, so it's guaranteed to have points, just like it was in China a few weeks back. So at least 1 point is guaranteed, and that's I mean, that's good news if you look at the points situation, but it's not very exciting, is it? Racing with only 9 other cars around you. But it's Silverstone, so at least it's a good track for it. Jeremy is finishing his first lap and it's at 26.2. He goes into P3, but almost a second slower than Felix. So we are seeing quite some gaps starting to form right now. Now we have Cornflakes starting now. Wait, let me enable the telemetry, because Kart Racer is finishing right now his first lap. Now into Val and then into Club, taking a lot of curb on the outside, but it's only 26.2, it's only P4. Paco is showing some very good pace today. I mean, to be honest, I'm not sure what times we are looking for. I seriously haven't touched Silverstone in a long time. But yeah, I mean, 1 second from Felix, almost. 1.5 seconds from pole position. Paco is flying tonight. We'll see if he's gonna get challenged in a few minutes. 7.5 minutes to be exact. Corflex now into Maggots and Beckett again. Gladly hasn't invalidated. Finishes sector 2 and it's 1:03. Now approaching the Stowe corner with a little bit of a slide there. Enzoval right now doesn't take exactly a lot of curb, but Corflex will finish in P8, 26.8. In the meanwhile, Nemesis has set his lap, 26.3. I mean, I'm seriously starting to get concerned about Paco's pace because I seriously didn't expect to see these gaps. Division 2 is usually Division 1, sorry. Division 1 is usually very close in qualifying gaps, so it's quite unusual to see these distances because there's a very big gap from Paco and Felix and a very big gap from Felix and Jeremy. But starting from Jeremy, we have Jeremy, Kart Tracer, Curable and Nemesis being barely within a tenth. That's quite the qualifying pace, I suppose. Okay, so Nemesis is not pushing right now, he's on his way back into the pits. And Corflex, I think Corflex is pushing. No, maybe you're out of fuel, never mind. So, no laps being set right now, although Paco, the Red Bull, is very close to the starting line. Looking forward to increase the gap even more. If the pace really stays like this, we might see some Paco domination. Anyway, we have 5 minutes left before the end of qualifying and Paco has started a lap. And now into turn 4. It's quite a difficult corner to get because you need to really moderate the traction under braking and also on the throttle. You can't push too much. Otherwise you just end up spinning. Paco is improving by 55 thousandths and sets a purple for sector. Jeremy retires, so I'm guessing he knows he can improve on that. I would have done another shot before the end of qualifying. Anyway, Paco on the exit of Copse right now and entering Maggots and Beckett's. Taking a lot of curb, being very aggressive, staying barely within track limits, and is improving by only 41 thousandths. So he must have been on a perfect lap before. Now into Stowe and into Val. Are we gonna see the pole lap being even faster than it is right now? Maybe yes, maybe not. And maybe not, he lost 1/10. So pole position for now stays into the 24.9. That's a very, very fast lap. I didn't expect to see these gaps. Kevin is standing still. What is he doing? Is he letting the Red Bull pass? Okay, yes, he is. I thought he was with no fuel, or we have, I don't know. Anyway, no one is pushing right now. We have Kevin on the outlap, Kart Tracer on the outlap, Curable on the outlap. The Williams will be the first one to complete the last lap of this qualifying. 3 minutes left, so drivers might wanna go out right now if they wanna improve and try to challenge by just a little bit Paco, who is flying tonight. Corebold is starting right now, approaching Abbey, and then into Farm, then 5 is Aintree. DRS right now onto the Wellington straight. Is Corebold improving on his previous best? He is, by 2,000ths almost. Now into Brooklands and into Luffield, a very particular corner. You can take quite some different lines in here. It's quite difficult to figure out the fastest way around there. Now approaching once again the flat out cops. And now into Maggots and Beckett's. This one's flat, this one's flat. Little tap on the brake here. So he goes for here, but he goes a little bit wide on Chapel. But he's finishing sector 2, improving by 2/10 actually. And now into Stowe, doing it in 7th gear. Now braking at the 100-meter board. Into Val, 3rd gear. Into Club, 4th gear. Not taking quite the exit, but he finishes with a 25.9, improving by 4/10. He's into P3. What about Cat Racer? He's improving by 3/10 with a 2nd purple sector. And into Stowe. Is Cat Racer gonna improve so much that he can challenge Paco? Because he's not used to be in this position, to be so far from pole position. Is he gonna improve? Not quite for pole position, improves by only 3/10.5, and he goes into P4, very close to Corebold by just a few hundredths of a second. But there is still quite a gap from Felix and Corebold. Nemesis, he's approaching the DRS into the Wellington straight. PC Willy hasn't set it up yet, but he's about to start one now. And there is the Red Bull of Cornflakes approaching the starting line. We have Miyai with a purple, I mean it's definitely not purple, but it says purple, improved by 2/10.5. Now approaching Stowe. Although Miyai is quite far from Cornflakes, so I doubt it's gonna stay. I doubt it's gonna go up 10 P9, and indeed improves by 5,000, but still in P9, although it's only 1/10 from Cornflakes. I wouldn't have expected it. PC Willy finishing the first lap of this session with a 27.2. Qualifying in the meanwhile has ended, and Felix with a 25.1, so improving by I can't see how much, but 2/10 close to Paco. In the meanwhile, we're watching the Ferrari of PC Willy at the exit of Cops. Nemesis finishes in P3 with a 25.7. And PC Willy is running my same helmet. That's literally the same helmet design I use in League Racing. That's a homage, I guess. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I just noticed. Anyway, PC Willy is about to finish his only lap of this qualifying, and he goes into P3 actually, 25.5. So that was a good lap, 4/10 from Felix, and he splits the two Mercedes apart. Not quite the greatest qualifying for Cat Racer, only in P6 with a 25.9. Aston Martin being far back tonight. And yeah, I'm guessing this is quite 10 car grid again in Division 1. I really hope the attendance goes back to normal, because I mean it's just a shame. So Mia is back into the pits. We're just waiting for the screen to go back to normal and send us into the race. So Paco takes pole position. I mean, I didn't announce it in such an exciting manner. Oh yeah, I mean, at least the gap from P1 and P2 wasn't that massive as it was at the start of the qualifying. At least Felix has showed the pace to stay close to him. But still, these gaps, I'm not used to see them in Division 1, so that's quite unusual. Anyway, so Paco takes pole position for the Red Bull team, and Felix in P2 will close the front row. PC Willie in P3 and Nemesis into P4 with Crumbled in P5. The two Aston Martin, Kartracer and Jeremy in P6 and 7. Kevin in P8, Cornflakes in P9, and Mihai, reserve driver from Division 2, is in P10. And not very far from P9 actually. So there we go, now we are going into the race. I'm not seeing any weather report in the Discord chat. So we'll see in just a moment if it's gonna rain or not. Yeah, it's raining! Okay, I didn't expect it actually. Since Silverstone has kind of a medium chance of raining, it's a little bit of a 50-50. Usually it's dry, but it's not exactly too rare to see rain. But I have no idea if the rain is gonna get worse or better, if it's gonna dry or anything. It definitely looks like Inters for now. So yeah, we're commentating on a wet race, I guess. Okay, so strategy have been selected quite quickly. The 5 red lights are on, and it's lights out and away we go, but Paco is not starting. What happened? The Red Bull is just standing straight in the middle of the straight, and Paco is dropped to P10. I think he's on AI. So Felix is leading the British Grand Prix for now, with Nemesis going into P2 following way across, but Kartracer on the inside of turn 3 is sending it and is trying to make the move, being side by side. In the meanwhile, PC Willie and Corbold still fighting for that 4th place. But Paco has dropped down all the way to P8 after that horrible start. I'm not sure what happened. Kartracer is trying on the inside, side by side with Felix, and Felix goes a little bit wide of the track, and now they side by side into the field with Nemesis following very close, sliding a little bit with the rain. That just shows how much these conditions are tricky. And Felix and Kartracer are going side by side. Never mind, Felix has made a move on Kartracer before Cops. That would have been a very dangerous move, especially in the rain, but Kartracer is not gonna give up. He's gonna stay right behind him through Maggots and Beckett's. But the grip level are quite uncertain in these interest conditions. And it looks like Felix has a little bit less downforce because he's faster on the straight. In the meanwhile, I think I saw Paco and Kevin swapping position. Paco made a move and is up into P7, and Cornflakes and Mihai already being out from the second gap, and there is the Aston Martin of Jeremy going a little bit wide on the curb, and Kerbal staying very close and sliding all the way through the last corner. Felix sets the fastest lap for now. We are into lap 2, and Paco makes the move on Kerbal on the inside of Abbey. And Mihai retired. Okay, he retired in the pit lane, so we are down to 9 drivers, no safety car. That's good to see. But in the meanwhile, Kartracer and Felix once again are fighting for the lead and for the win of the race. So that was quite a start. It was very exciting, but I think I'm seeing some teleporting because Kartracer and Felix were swapping position for a little bit. Now Kartracer in the race, he's gonna have to extend the gap as much as possible, but I don't know what strategy they're on, because I don't know if the rain is gonna improve or get worse. but for now it stays on the Inters. And with quite some fog on the camera, I can't quite see the cars, but now I can. Now Felix making a move almost on the grass at the hangar straight, and Felix has took the lead for now, but Kart Racer is not giving up. They are bumping wheels all the way through Stowe, and Felix is interval now in P1 for now, but Kart Racer is not giving up. He will never give up. It looks like Kart Racer is running higher downforce though. He's definitely faster in the corners, and fastest lap being set right now. No DRS is gonna be enabled, since obviously when in wet condition. Kart Racer sending it on the inside. Also 3D still a very intense battle for the lead, and Felix attempting the switchback, going side by side through turn 4, and they still bump wheels. They're just battling so hard. And now on the ice outside of Brooklands, side by side once again. These guys are fighting so much. And Nemesis is staying relatively close to Felix with a bit of vigorous slide there, and Nemesis actually took the position. Some oversteer from Felix has cost him position, but Pisewidi is dangerously close to Felix into Cobbs, not making the move yet. He's gonna have to stay close through Maggots and Beckett if he wants to attempt something at the beginning of the hangar straight. A bit of a slide there, Owen going side by side with Jeremy in the Aston Martin, and they're almost pushing each other out of the track, and Felix is even getting reached by these guys. We have such intense battling. Kart Racer gets a 3-second time penalty already into the third lap. This is gonna compromise his position a lot, and Jeremy goes into P3 now, chasing Nemesis, sliding all the way through Val, or Club I should say. Now Jeremy will be chasing the Mercedes of Nemesis, and then his teammate Nemesis effectively is already into the fourth lap. But with Kart Racer having the 3-second time penalty, it's going to be crucial for the cars behind to keep in between the white lines if they want to have a chance at winning this race, because Kart Racer is pulling off quite quickly. Already 1.2 seconds, now 1.4 from Nemesis. So we have a little bit of a train going from P2 to P6, and then we have Corable behind with Kevin and Cornflakes even more behind. Paco going very wide at the exit of Cobbs. It might have been a warning for Chucklins, but we don't know yet. In the meanwhile, Kevin and Corbold are making moves. Kevin just over to Corbold. I can't quite see the cars in front of me. I enable the telemetry to see if they're burning some energy. But it doesn't look like it for now. Pisewidi now being very careful with the throttle and shot, and almost spinning. He just drifted all the way through the last corner, almost sent him into the wall, but he luckily kept the car on track. But that was quite a scary moment for him. And locking the rear actually, and he spins. He locked the rear, and that's the race compromised for the Ferrari of Pisewidi, and Paco says thank you very much and goes up into P5, now chasing Felix and Jeremy and all the other cars in front of him. But Kart Racer is pulling off immensely, 2.4 seconds from Nemesis. It's an absurd pace, and Paco is gonna have to fight his way through. He had pole position, but he had a terrible start. Maybe he was an AI, but again, I'm not sure what happened there. But he's gonna have to fight if he wants to recover those positions. So Nemesis is trying to pull off from Jeremy, and Jeremy is putting quite the pressure. Nemesis even burning energy to get away from the Aston Martin. But Jeremy isn't. I'm guessing he's more confident in his pace, and Nemesis going very wide at Stowe, completely missing the apex, and that made Jeremy recover. But they're pitting, so maybe the rain is getting worse. I think they are pitting for full wet because it's still raining, and it doesn't look like it's getting dry at all. We might have full wet conditions. Kurabo gets a 5-second penalty for spinning in pit lane. And yes, we have full wets. The rain is gonna get even worse. It's gonna be even more tricky for the drivers to keep it on track going into the full wet. And it's a double stack for Kart Racer and Jeremy. The Aston Martin team losing a lot of time there. But Nemesis and Kevin actually haven't pitted. They are staying out on the inters. So either they're confident in their pace, or maybe they just wanted to avoid the double stack. But the rain is definitely getting worse. We can clearly see it right now. This is definitely not conditions for inters. We can see puddles of water starting to form on the track. It's going to be very, very tricky. So when these two cars stop, Kart Racer will still be leading with a very big gap from Felix behind. But now I'm curious to see if the race is gonna be full wet up until the end. Is it gonna dry? We don't know. But we have 20 laps to see if it's gonna happen. Now Nemesis approaching Stowe, the last corner before the pit lane. And yeah, we can see how he's struggling for grip. We can see very big puddles of water starting to form on the track. Nemesis is indeed pitting right now with a bit of a lockup and gets a 5-second penalty, and that's unfortunate. It was exactly on the 60 km/h limiter, but he got the penalty. That's a shame. That's gonna make him lose even more time. There we go, we can see the full wet tires being put on the Mercedes, and same goes for the Alpine of Kevin. So Kart Racer very obviously and very easily is gonna stay ahead. And look at just how worse the rain got in the span of only 6 laps. The track is a pool. There is more water than asphalt right now. The grip is basically non-existent. This is very tricky for the drivers. But Kart Racer, he's pulling off immensely. 6 seconds from the Mercedes. He's just dominating this race for now, despite his not so great qualifying. Or maybe that explains it. Maybe he just ran a wet setup in qualifying, just so that he could dominate so much in the race. He has the 3-second time penalty, but it doesn't matter because just look at these gaps. So Kart Racer just pretty much needs to not make any mistakes, and I mean, I know it's very difficult in these conditions with this heavy rain, but that's pretty much all he needs to do, because the cars are just not gonna reach him. Jeremy and Nemesis are fighting for second position, although Nemesis has the 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and Jeremy is staying very close to Nemesis, locking up the fronts, and Nemesis going a little bit wide, and Jeremy almost spinning, going a little bit off the track, and almost spinning on the last corner. The grip is so difficult to find. It's so hard to traction with this rain. But that drive from Jeremy was enough for Felix to recover, but Paco is even closer to the Mercedes and spinning, and pretty much every driver is having so much oversteer out of these low corners. Paco just counter-steering at every corner, and PC Willy attempting the overtake on Kurbold. He's using the energy, but Corbel is defending, but it's very difficult to attempt to move in this corner and in these conditions. And he's gonna try it around the outside of Laffield. He's gonna have two traction much better than the Williams, and I think he did that. They are side by side before Cubs was gonna be ahead, and it's the Ferrari, but Corbel is staying very close and he tries it on the inside of Cubs, and what's gonna happen? Corbel is sliding, Piswilly a little bit off the track, but Piswilly has made the move. Corbel attempted the inside at Cubs, and I was very scared for a moment, but luckily they kept it clean. Although I'm not sure if Piswilly got another warning for track limits. We'll go back to the field in P2, 3, 4 and 5, although Felix is 1 second currently from Jeremy. But he's not sliding as much, he's tractioning better from the looks of it. But Cat Racer is just cruising on his own, 8 seconds, and that gap is gonna get even faster, even bigger. So we stay on board with Jeremy for now, because he's trying to close the gap on Nemesis, but not quite, not yet at least. But Nemesis is definitely struggling. I think he might have a little bit missed the apex. Oh, and there's a spin between Corbel and Cornflakes, the Williams and the Red Bull at the exit of Laffield. They spun. I don't know if they just lost traction or touched each other, but Cornflakes has dropped down to P9, 5 seconds from Corbel. Then Corbel is 10 seconds away from Piswilly, and unfortunately I missed that on the stream. Corbel gets a 3 seconds high penalty. He's now onto 8 seconds of penalties at the end of the race. Paco staying very close to Felix right now at the last corners. And we are approaching lap 10. Paco sliding so much. He's trying his absolute best to stay close to Felix and recover that time, but he's just struggling so much with traction. Jeremy making a move on Nemesis actually. So Nemesis is struggling even more with the traction. It's an Aston Martin 1-2 for now. And Jeremy making the move on the Mercedes. I think it was in turn 3. Paco reaching Felix even more, just dangerously close through Brooklands and through Laffield. He's gonna attempt on the inside, not quite. Yeah, traction is still very difficult. The grip is very hard to find right now. Look at just how much time he's recovering. He goes wide at the exit of Cubs, but he's trying everything to make the move on the Mercedes. They both have a lot of energy left, so I'm not sure if you're gonna see another take right now into the Hunger Straight. Paco is burning energy though. He's taking the slipstream and attempts it on the inside of Stowe. Corners as clean as possible to not lose too much time. Although Paco is momentarily pulling off. And Felix also sliding there at the exit of turn 3. But this particular set of corners, it is quite difficult to find the traction. I mean, they're in full wet conditions, but even in the dry, it's very hard to apply the throttle to not have wheel spin and to not spin and completely lose the rear. It's quite a complicated set of corners. I don't think there were a lot of slow corners in the old layout of Silverstone. But anyway, there's not really much to commentate for now. Cornflakes is recovering the time lost from Curebold, as we see this beautiful sky view, and we can see just how wet the track is. But Cornflakes is actually getting very close. On Curebold with a little bit of oversteer at the exit of Cobbs, maybe the curb unsettled their car a little bit. But Cornflakes, he's getting massively closer, he's massively faster. Does Curebold have wing damage? Because he's just going so much slower. No, he doesn't. So maybe the setup is wrong, maybe the pace is wrong, but Cornflakes is recovering quite quickly actually. So Jeremy in the Aston Martin is currently 10 seconds away from his teammate, and Nemesis is trying to put the pressure a little bit. They are only 3/10 apart, but Nemesis still has 5 seconds. And I mean, he could try to get those 5 seconds away at the next pit stop, but we're not even sure if they're gonna pit, because we don't know if the rain is gonna stay like this. But in a few seconds we're gonna approach half of the race. We're gonna approach lap 13, and it is an Aston Martin 1-2 for now. So if the results stay like this, Nemesis is gonna drop down to P5. Oh, Nemesis with a very big slide. I think he locked the rear and lost even more time. Curebold gets another 3-second time penalty. He's just struggling so much to track limits here. And Cornflakes once again, he's trying all he can to overtake the Williams. He doesn't even need to do it, because he just has 11 seconds of penalties. But even so, if Curebold is actually much slower than Cornflakes, he needs to get past as soon as possible to not get slowed down. Although, I mean, they have 22 seconds from the cars ahead, which is unfortunate. I wish I could have seen the contact, the spin, or whatever it was, a few laps ago. The thing is, it is very likely we won't even have safety cars, because I mean, Silverstone already by itself is a very open track. There's a lot of space between the actual track and the walls. So unless a car's just DNFs in the middle of the track, don't think we're gonna see any safety cars. But Cat Racer is just driving completely on his own. Starting lap 14, we are 50% of the race done. And Cat Racer just has no pressure whatsoever. Although, I don't know if I'm mistaken, but it looks like it's kind of understeering. I mean, that's what it looks like from my POV, but it's still putting off 10 seconds. So maybe it's not, maybe it's just my impression. Nemesis is still very far from Jeremy, so for now no chance to recover that gap. I mean, pretty much everyone is so far apart compared to the next car. Only Curebold and Cornflakes are the one fighting, not exactly fighting for P8. since Corbold is not gonna get rid of those penalties, or is not gonna extend the gap anytime soon. And apart from these two spinning earlier, and once again I don't know if it was a contact or something, we haven't seen anyone doing major mistakes, just completely spinning. No, there was PC Willy actually. PC Willy locking the rear, I think, in turn 3. And he's now running in P7. So yeah, there's really little stuff to commentate right now. I mean, I guess I could just stay with the onboard of Cornflakes. Oh, Corbold with a very big mistake out of Chapel. There we go. Otherwise, as I said before, that no driver was committing major mistakes. Corbold just saved it at the exit of Chapel and lost so much time. PC Willy spun. There we go. I just jinxed it. This is the commentator curse. I just said that no one is making major mistakes. As I said it, PC Willy spun. Corbold saved it at the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. PC Willy is struggling even more. He just keeps locking both the fronts and the rears. Definitely struggling with grip. And I will repeat it, the helmet PC Willy is using right now is exactly the same as I use it in league races. I mean, he's using my helmet. Oh, PC Willy with a very big slide that almost went into the wall. That was massive. That was a major Brown moment, because a few seconds more and the car would have just been, if not into the wall, and he's spinning even more. Oh, Paco and Nemesis are actually making moves. Oh no, never mind, Nemesis is pitting. But wait, is this a strategic pit stop? Is he pitting to put inters, so just to get rid of the penalty? No, another set of full wets, so I think he wants to get rid of the penalties, but I mean, he's doing... No wait, the PC Willy is pitting as well. Oh, PC Willy retired, never mind. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But as I was saying... Wait, but PC Willy put the inters before retiring, and Corbold is pitting. Is the rain changing to inters? I think it is. I think it is getting lighter. Because that will explain why Nemesis and Corbold went into pits, although Nemesis put another set of full wets. Yeah, Corbold with the inters. But no, I mean, come on, the track is definitely full wet condition. You can clearly see the puddles on the asphalt. Not quite sure why Williams put the inters then. So anyway, as I was saying before about PC Willy, he's using my same helmet in my car as well, because I also drive for Ferrari. So a Ferrari with my same helmet. Also the number was very similar, because I used number 12, he used the number 13, so it was almost like he was copying me or something. Okay, I guess. But yeah, now we are in lap 17, 10 laps remaining, and there is literally nothing to commentate about right now, because everyone is just so much far from the other cars, so far apart there is no chance of recovering on pure pace. You just need to Hope the drivers ahead of you make some mistake. Conflex is pitting. Is he gonna put inters as well? Because right now I seriously cannot figure out if the conditions are getting better. He's putting inters. But then why Kart Racer, Jeremy, Paco, why isn't any of them pitching? Or maybe why did Conflex and Corbel pit for inters? Because as I'm seeing right now, it definitely seems like full wet. I mean, you cannot look at this onboard and tell me this is inters. Hey, come on. So, Corabold and Cornflakes are... I mean, I can't even say... Oh, wait, never mind, they're pitting actually. Jeremy's pitting... yeah, Jeremy, Felix, and the Red Bull of... No, not Paco. Oh, never mind, Jeremy and Felix are actually pitting for inters. So the rain is indeed getting lighter. So we finally have an explanation. So they're trying to undercut, they're trying to make the pit stop as early as possible. Even though the rain, it still seems like full wet. But apparently the game just says that it's gonna get lighter, so they are putting inters indeed. So it's gonna get better. So this means that we're waiting on Kart Racer, Paco and Kevin and even Nemesis to put the inters eventually. Conflex and Corabold already have the inters. I will watch Kart Racer. What will Kart Racer do? Nothing, he stays out. So maybe he thinks it's too soon to put the inters. What about Paco? He's on the exit of Stowe right now, and he's pitting indeed. So it's a matter of a few laps before the other drivers come in and pit for inters. I assume Kevin is gonna do the same. No, he doesn't actually. He chases Kart Racer for a little bit. Wait, let's look the onboard and telemetry of Jeremy to see if the grip is actually getting better. It looks like it actually. Well, let me see the fastest lap. How do I see it? There you go. Fastest lap is from Kart Racer, but he did that on the full wet. I'm still seeing the paddles on the track. Anyway, maybe the game just said that they want to put inters because it's gonna get better. Kart Racer is approaching the pit lane once again. Is he gonna pit? No, he doesn't. So it's kind of a 50-50 situation. You can't quite figure out. It's very difficult for the commentators because you don't have the weather report and you cannot communicate with the engineers. It is complicated for me to figure out the weather conditions. Anyway, I assume the drivers are confident. Wait, Paco has put fresh full wets. I don't know when that happened. Corabold left the session and I mean he's last anyway. Kevin is pitting. So I'm guessing we'll see the Alpine going from full wets to, there we go, inters. But I still don't understand why Kyle Tracer is staying out so much. Well, I mean, he has literally 33 seconds from his teammate behind. No, but wait, actually, now that I remember, the pit stop at Silverstone is actually quite long. It lasts definitely at least 30 seconds. So I don't think it's guaranteed that Kyle Tracer will stay ahead when he pits, if he pits, because he's literally the only one who's continuing on the old full wets. Oh, there we go, he's finally pitting for the Inters. So now it's gonna be interesting to see if Jeremy is gonna make the jump on him, because the pit lane is just so slow at Silverstone. And there we go, we're finally seeing the Aston Martin. No, full wets? Again? So the rain isn't getting lighter. Okay, I'm not understanding anymore. But anyway, is Jeremy actually gonna make the jump on Kyle Tracer? They're gonna stay very close. Felix gets a 3-second time penalty. So Jeremy, in the middle there's fireworks near my house. Okay, so Jeremy is very close to Kyle Tracer, hasn't made the jump, but he's effectively leading the race on penalties. So Jeremy is leading, he's in P1 right now. Okay, now the rain seems like it's lighter. Yeah, now it's definitely less than it was before. So I don't know what Kyle Tracer has put the full wets again, because now I can clearly see that the rain is 4 Inters. So is Jeremy actually gonna win this race? And probably his first race of the season, his first win of the season. I'm not too sure actually. I don't even remember when was the last time Jeremy won a race. But yeah, 5 laps left and Jeremy is indeed on his way to win the race. He just needs to not make any mistakes, not get any track limit penalties. And not spin, not lock up, not do anything that might compromise his race. Just needs to bring it home. Just drive normally for 5 more laps and you're done. Nemesis is pitting again. So Nemesis is doing the 2-stopper and a bit of a stinker for Nemesis. Because he made the second stop with the full wets to get rid of the penalties. Now he's making another stop on the Inters, making him lose more position. Kevin might actually make the jump. Oh yeah, he definitely will. Kevin is indeed taking the position on Nemesis. So quite an evening to forget for Nemesis. And it's home race as well. He's British. And now that I think about it, there are quite some Brits in our server in F1 Total. So Silverstone will be the home race of quite a lot of the guys in here. Not the one that are racing right now, but I'm talking in general. I think Germans and British are the most common nationalities in F1 Total. But Germany hasn't got a Formula 1 race anymore, since both the Nürburgring and Hockenheimring made their way out of the calendar. So Silverstone was the most common home race for F1 Total. Jeremy sets the fastest lap with a 37.0 on the Inters, so yeah, it is definitely quicker. Paco is pitting, he's putting Inters as well. So he's gonna lose even more positions. I think he's gonna drop down behind Nemesis. Cornflakes, 3 seconds time penalty. Now we can see indeed the Red Bull going on the inserts. Is Nemesis gonna make the jump? We'll see in just a moment. Yes, he is. Everyone is on inters apart from Kartracer. Kartracer is just sabotaging himself. Jeremy is only 5 tenths apart from his teammate. I don't know why he's putting the... I don't know why he just stayed on the full wets, because it's definitely a lot slower than the inters right now. In the middle, Kartracer was lapping Korobot. I mean, Korobot was on AI. So Jeremy right now, he doesn't have to make the move on Kartracer. On penalties, he's winning the race, but he's pushing like crazy to get effectively the first position on track. And yes, I could understand it's a little bit of a feeling of satisfaction and all of that, but I mean, it's just risky. He doesn't have to push like crazy because the inters are just naturally faster right now. And there we go, burning energy, but it's not actually quite recovering. He's not gonna attempt it on the inside. The Nemesis with the fastest lap at 35.3. That's around 2 seconds improving from the last fastest lap. We have only 3 laps remaining and Jeremy is on his way to win the British Grand Prix. Again, I cannot remember if it's his first win of the season, and I cannot remember what was his last win. But I mean, I'm just used to seeing Kartracer winning, and sometimes Felix, sometimes Nemesis. I guess Nemesis. Ah, never mind, I literally can't remember now. So there we go, Nemesis making the moves on the inside actually. A little bit risky, but I mean, he pulled it off. So Jeremy right now is leading the race for real on the track with his teammate right behind. And with those full wets, I think the gap will get even bigger. But yeah, the grid is just so far apart right now. There are no battles. Let's look at the penalties, shall we? So right now, Jeremy will win the race. Kartracer will be second. Paco sets the fastest lap. So it will be Jeremy, Kartracer, Felix, Kevin, Nemesis, Paco. Yeah, okay, never mind. It will stay just how it is. So many penalties, but the position won't even change. Great. So Jeremy is indeed on his way to win the race. Only 1 lap and a half remaining. Getting close to the end of cycle 3. And there we go, the last corner right now, and we're starting lap 26. One more lap, and Jeremy will lead an Aston Martin 1-2, getting on the top step of the podium after, I think, a long time. I'm not very used to see him winning a lot of races. But Jeremy will indeed lead the Aston Martin 1-2, and Felix will close in P3. Aston Martin will gain quite some points on Mercedes, and Kartracer will gain a little bit of points on Felix, but still extending the gap. So Kartracer just improving his chance of winning his second championship in a row. If he wins season 12, it's gonna be its second in a row and third overall. Oh, Kartracer gets another 3-second time penalty, but yeah, he's not gonna lose the position to Felix. And now that I think about it, the podium is gonna be all German. 3 German drivers on the podium. That's nice. The German fans will love to see it. But anyway, into Val now, and into Club, and the last corner. After a great and consistent race, Jeremy wins the British Grand Prix, and Kartracer follows in P2, closing the Aston Martin 1-2. And Felix right now will close into P3, and the last podium seater goes to the Mercedes driver. Paco and Nemesis are actually fighting for P5, but Paco has the 3-second time penalty. Kevin will finish in P4 and Nemesis in P5 with Paco in P6. And now we're just waiting on Cornflakes. Yeah, only Cornflakes. Corball was lapped, so he finished earlier. We're just waiting on the Red Bull. But yeah, in a very non-exciting way, I just announced the win of Jeremy, and Kartracer following behind, and Felix closing the podium. Oh, DRS is enabled, so the rain was actually going away. The track was starting to get dry at the end of the race. There we go, this was it. The British Grand Prix. That was exciting for the start, but it just lost its pace during the longer phases of the race. Jeremy gets driver of the day. I mean, I have to agree. He just kept it consistent with no penalties and falling on the ground, but winning the race. And there we go, a full German podium. As Jeremy lifts the trophy, winning the Silverstone race. Yeah, I mean, I thought we would have seen an exciting race since this is Silverstone. Even if we had 10 cars, I thought we would see some great racing. Unluckily, that wasn't the case. Was exciting for the first few laps, but now it's starting to get boring, if I'm brutally honest. But anyway, so Jeremy takes the win, starting from P7, and Kartracer his teammate in P2. Felix in P3, and Kevin will finish with a very respectable P4. Nemesis in P5 and Paco in P6. Cornflakes in P7, Corbold getting lapped in P8. Then Piz Willy and Mihai having DNF'd, but they will still get respectively 2 and 1 points. So there we go. This was the British Grand Prix. I hoped it would have been a little bit more than what we saw today. Luckily, then this was round 9 of Division 1, and this was the last race of Division 1 before the Christmas break. The next race will be in Division 2, still at Silverstone, Wednesday 7:30 UK as usual. And after Silverstone, we will officially go on the Christmas break, so we will resume racing when the new year, when 2024 comes. So we resume from round 10. That's gonna be either the funniest or the most boring race ever, because it's Monaco. Yeah, actually quite a long time since we last had Monaco. But I mean, during the Christmas break, I'm guessing drivers will have a little bit more time to prepare themselves for the imminent chaos that will be the race in Monaco. So anyway, we'll see you again on Wednesday at 7:30 UK for the Silverstone race in Division 2. And until that, we'll see you next week.